Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Joe from GBE Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about the game Paladins, and in particular reviewing the character Barik. I think he's a pretty solid frontline defense. I think he's a good primary tank, and an excellent, if not my favorite, off-tank as well. So I have a couple of builds for him that I like to play. I have two that I play when he's the solo tank, and one I play when he's an alt tank. So it's really going to depend on your party comp which one of these two builds you'll want to use. So starting with my barrier build, this is where you're going to have a lot of people on the point. This one, especially if you have a solid healer who's going to be dedicated to you. So this is good with, say, a Moldamba or a Ying, and maybe not as good with a Pip who's probably going to be off doing his own thing. So here I have less emphasis on being healed by my turrets or healing them, though I do reduce the cooldown time because your turrets are a great source of damage. But here I focus more on the barricade, so I have its health increased by 750. I have its duration increased by 4, and its cooldown reduced by 2. And I think it makes sense to allocate the points this way. You want your barricade to last as long as possible, especially because once you throw it, your cooldown is starting to tick away anyway. So I think this makes the most sense. This is my blend that I feel works the best. So you want to give your barricade a little extra health. You want to make sure it can survive a little longer. But at the same time, you also want to get that cooldown reduced. So I don't have this all the way up because I think that extra 250 health isn't going to really make or break. But I do think giving it a little extra helps. So this is, again, a good build. If you have a couple of healers and other people on the point, this is going to keep your barricade up and alive for as long as possible. It'll allow you to throw some turrets and get them safe. So I think this is a pretty solid solo tank build. So this other build is a turret build, and this is more when you're going to be on the point by yourself. This is maybe if you have a more offensive healer, a Ying that's going to be shattering her clones often, or a Moldamba that's going to be focusing more on doing damage. So in this build, you're mostly self-sustaining. So you'll see that I have my turret cooldown reduced even more. I've increased their health by 350. Standing near them heals me for 180 health a second, and standing near them has me heal them for 100 health a second. So you have a little self-sustaining support station here. As soon as you get those turrets up, you're going to be healing them, they're going to be healing you. And I also increased the duration of the barricade by 2 seconds. And I think this is important as well. You're definitely going to want to make sure that you keep that barricade up. I personally like to throw my turret, wait a few seconds, then throw the barricade. You don't want to throw it right away, especially if you don't have the increased duration and you don't have the increased health, because your barricade's going to be pretty weak. With this loadout, your barricade's going to be much lower than Fernando's. It's not going to be as strong or as helpful. So this is really a more self-sustaining build. And then lastly, I have my alt tank build. This works really well if you're going to have a Fernando or, say, a Ruckus in the party. Somebody who's going to be able to take care of themselves. So in this build, I focus more on defense. So my turret health is 525, so getting a little more health from them. And I'm still having them heal me, but I'm not healing them. And so this build is meant to be a little more mobile. So instead of just staying on the point and completely guarding it, I sometimes will veer off and chase down guys every once in a while. So I'll either throw my turrets on, say, the cart and ride around in it, or I'll also maybe, if I'm going to fight a DPS, I'll throw my turret, and then I'll use my bowling ball skill. And this is one I haven't showed you guys yet. This one gives you a shield after using rocket boots. So this one's really good. If, say, you have somebody who's almost dead and so they're running away, you throw your rocket boot on. That's going to give you a little bit of extra health. You're going to want to take them and shoot them, and then run back. So this helps you to kind of get into their back line. This is also particularly good when you're fighting a Makoa and he throws his shield. You just rocket boot right on in there, give him a few shotgun blasts to the face, take him out. One other thing is, definitely with Barik, you want to focus on his turrets. His turrets make such a huge difference. So if we go to his skill menu, and you're really going to want to make sure you pay attention to this right here. The turrets fire for 150 damage a second and last until destroyed. So that's pretty solid damage. And you can deploy two at once, of course. Now, the more important part is this right here. The turrets mark enemy players for 3 seconds, and a player can be marked twice. So if you have two turrets marking somebody, each of them is going to give you an extra 15% more damage. So if you have somebody double marked, that's another 30% damage. That's going to make a huge difference. These 600 shots are going up to almost 800. So that's definitely going to make a difference. You will notice when somebody's marked versus when they're not. Especially if you can get up there and get a headshot in them, you're just going to do a huge amount of damage. So you definitely want to get your turrets out there and keep those built. Alright, so at this point I'm going to switch over to some gameplay and do a little bit more talking about just some strategies I use as Barik and some overall reviews of him. Alright, so I'll see you on the other side. Hey everybody. So as you can see here, I'm in the middle of a match. I didn't want this video to be too long, so I started it from the good part. The score is 2-2, and the enemy team has 3 healers. They have a Ying, a Pip, and a Grover. They have a Fernando and a Bomb King. And their Bomb King took Poppy Bomb, so he's really annoying. He's knocking people all over the place. Alright, so I just threw my ult, and this is something I want to talk about quickly. You definitely want to throw your ult when you have a couple guys in the point and you're trying to clear it. It's good for you to hide inside the shield, but it's also good because you want to get that on the point when there's a lot of people, because it's going to do 400 damage to all of them and get them on fire. So it definitely is going to melt them pretty quickly. So as you can see, I've got my turrets up, and one thing you want to do as Barik is you want to ride that cart and get those turrets on top. You're going to keep them mobile, and that's going to help you to push them along. One of the main benefits of Barik is his turret, so you definitely want to make sure those are staying up. I like to throw his shield when the cart stops. That's a good time so your people have somewhere they can get behind. You'll see a lot of my guys were behind it right there, shoot through it. One other thing is you're definitely going to want to take Cauterize when you go against a lot of healers. Like right now, I believe I have Cauterize 3 because we've gone pretty far along and I've racked up a bunch of points. Normally for Barik, I don't pick Cauterize. I mean, it's decent. He generally fires slow, though, and he's a close-range guy, so you're not necessarily going to be shooting a lot of healers just because of their overwhelming comp. With him, I like to take Chrono. You get his turrets up faster, his barricade around, all of his cooldowns. Also, one other thing is, you're going to want to make sure you look at the damage types of enemies. So if you're going to try to take a self-defense thing, you want to make sure that you're thinking about who's going to be attacking you. So for example, a lot of people don't know this and just pick Haven, but a lot of the heroes do blast damage. Like for example, Eevee. Eevee's a blast damage hero. All of her damage is blast. So if you're picking Haven, you're not getting any mitigation at all against her. So you're going to want to think who you're fighting the most. So if you're, say, backline like a Kinessa, you're going to want to take Blast Shield because it's going to be the Eevees and the other flankers who are coming after you. And so one other thing to point out about this build right here is that it definitely emphasizes the turrets and mobility. So you'll see I'm not really standing around. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how it's done. So that was a pretty good match. And let me just leave it on the victory screen here for a second. As you'll see, I got a couple of accolades. And yeah, here you go. See, it was a pretty solid match. So anyways, that's my review of Barik. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. I'll probably be doing a couple others. Barik's my favorite frontline, but I do play quite a few others. So if you liked it, let me know. And also, feel free to check out my anime and visual novel reviews as well. I know they're not really related to this, but just another thing I do on YouTube. So yeah, it was nice talking to you guys. Hopefully you found this helpful, and take it easy.
Oh, please don't let me